Garen, first South African game back on South African soil in the late afternoon, 3 o'clock, and Franco Smith's first game in charge of the Cheetahs. Don't know how much we can say about the Cheetahs this week. I see they've got a Schindler's flower half, so against the Waratahs, they're probably going to get another battering, eh?
You'd think so. I mean, the Waratahs obviously got a lot more to play for than the Cheetahs. You correctly said Franco Smith. He's got some Varsity Cup connections this year. He's gone for a flower from the Varsity Cup. I don't know how good, a smarter move that will be. The Waratahs, obviously, with Bernard Foley, he's a Wallaby, far more experienced. I can't see any way that the Cheetahs can beat the Waratahs this weekend. We've got Willie Leroux this week signing for the Sharks, Joe Peterson going to Durban, Henrik Brousseau staying
Guys
in
all
Japan.
just jumping off a sinking ship.
Pretty much,
what it looks like.
I think that was the fear in the beginning of the season. We were pretty confident that the Cheetahs would be the bottom South African team, and so it's proved. It doesn't look like there's any ray of light at the end of the tunnel for the poor Cheetahs. The new coach, new forwards coach, Osterrand's also gone, Nakadrotsky's gone. Franco Smith doesn't have a lot of coaching experience, certainly not in Super Rugby. So I can't see his tenure in charge getting off to a winning start. I think the Waratahs are going to do more than enough to win this game. I can see them scoring 4 tries, picking up the bonus point, staying in contention for that top spot in the Australian Conference, perhaps even moving up the overall standings as well, depending on how other matches go. So I'm going to go for the Waratahs to bounce back from their defeat to the Lions last week and win this by 15 points.
Okay. Rob, finally, and I'm calling this the game of the weekend, the Stormers are hosting the Lions. The Lions, because they've got a bye in the final round, have to win this game. And the Stormers obviously want to consolidate their top spot in the South African Conference. Skulk back for the Stormers. Minimal changes to the Lions side, except in the midfield, Hollenbach. But something else I wanted to point out just shows how important bonus points are. You've got the Lions in 7th place, who've won 9 out of 15 games. And in the 6th place, the Brumbies have only won 8 of 14 games. But 10 bonus points versus 4 bonus points.
Yes, in fact, this game is a meeting of 2 teams who struggle for bonus points because the Stormers also are a bit bonus points shy. And I just wonder if, come the final look at that log table, the Stormers could still be bounced out into costly 3rd position, meaning an extra game in the playoffs and no guaranteed home semi-final. So they must keep pushing hard. This is a classic game, given the way it's sort of set up, with the Lions desperately wanting to stay in the picture. As you say, the worst thing for them is that they're redundant on the last day. The only team in the entire competition not playing on the last day. Remember in the old days, of course, if you got a bye, you got 4 points. So they'd have been pretty happy about that scenario. That doesn't exist anymore. So they have to, their maximum log position points end this weekend. So it's that desperate for them. They will give it a good tonk. I said last week that they were going to be a slightly tired side, and they proved me wrong. Hate to say it, but I'm going to say that they're still going to be a tired side, and this time they're not going to get it right. I just think that guys like Franco Mostert, Warren Whiteley, Warwick Tecklenburg, they've really played themselves into the ground. They've been absolute heroes for that Lions team, and I love watching this Lions team, don't get me wrong. And they keep proving me wrong in terms of some of the predictions, but it's a bit of a repeat of the Currie Cup final last year, except that this Stormers team is going to be stronger than the Western Province team that played against the Lions, and the Lions team that played in the Currie Cup final is pretty similar to the one that is now taking the field this weekend. That probably tells you that with the likes of Eben Etzebeth, Dwayne Vermeulen, Skalkberger, etc., real sort of gnarly characters in the Stormers pack, the Stormers should do enough to subdue them. The Lions scrum, I think, will certainly test the very strong, probably the best scrum in the competition, Stormers 8. But I think the going could be a little bit heavy underfoot. We've had a lot of rain in the middle of the week. I think that could also get to the Lions' legs a little bit. They prefer, obviously, playing on harder, faster, high-felt sort of pitches. So in some ways, conditions could play into the Stormers' hands, even though a nice sunny day is predicted, which is great. A nice sort of climax to the sort of South African derby season, if you like. But I'm going to go Stormers by perhaps 7 or 8 points.
Okay. Karen, your take on that game? And it does seem, should the Lions not qualify for the playoffs, it does seem quite cruel and a bit of a shame considering the form they've been in. And
yeah, they had a fantastic year. I mean, to be honest, I don't think anyone thought the Lions were going to make the playoffs ahead of the season. They started off fairly poorly. They certainly got better. Their tour was fantastic. 3 out of 4 victories, the best return by any South African team. You know, the head says the Stormers should win. I think it's going to be closer than Rob predicts. I wouldn't even be surprised if the Lions did pull this out. You know, they know they're not playing next weekend. They're going to leave everything on the line this weekend. You know, it's do or die. It's players leaving after this match or potentially, you know, into a playoff spot. So, you know, they're going to come out firing. Warren Whiteby's been unbelievable. For me, the South African player of the Super Rugby. Jacques Kriel, amazing. Warren Tecklenburg, again, fantastic. Tackles anything that moves. They've got some really good backline players. Elton Jantjies has been fantastic this season. I'm really looking forward to his duel with Dimitri Katrakilis. Hopefully it's more than just kicking penalties at poles. But, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions won. We talked off air about the other match they played earlier in the season when the Lions turned down a surefire 3 points, which would have given them the draw, and they went for the try. They came damn close to scoring. It was the last minute fumble over the line thanks to a massive tackle by, I think, Dalende that denied the Lions victory. That result was a 3-point swing, which would have put them tied with the Stormers, you know, if things had gone the other way. So it's really the margins are that narrow and that slim. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions won. Sure, they don't have great resources. They've been forced to play every single player. They haven't had this Saru having to rest policy, so it hasn't really affected them. You know, again, the head says the Stormers should win. It might even come down to a penalty here or there. I think it's going to be the Stormers by 1 or 2. I don't see it being more than that. But again, we sit here on Monday morning and the Lions have won. I'll remind you of the fact that I thought that might well happen. But I think Rob and I are both going
Darren's hedging his bets. I'm sorry. That's unacceptable.
I know we're both going down to the game. Really looking forward to it. Sunny weather. So hoping for a fantastic end to the round 17, I think it is this weekend. So thanks, Nick.
Great, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick.